hear a few?
Okay.
Have you worked on it?
Yeah, a bit.
Great. I think the Adagio is sounding quite good. Let's keep it in your fingers and let's make a recording.
Okay.
It's worth it. The way I think you could do with your YouTube is you time stamp every video, right? Age 14, age 15, and then people could see your ability at such a young age. Okay, go ahead. Good, beautiful. I think in order to professionally perform this for the recording, we need to deliver more cleaner voicing. The bottom heavy chords really have to stand out very obviously so we could hear the melody on the bottom. And the top has to be softer and sometimes later and shorter to compromise in order to really bring the bottom voice up. And then there's still a few wrong notes here and there, which is okay, easy to fix. We'll fix them today. Doesn't need to be any faster at all. So we could practice a little bit slower today. And but the really hard thing I want to say throughout the whole piece is the articulation and the phrasing. So that, in order to, so even though we talked about this before, right? Two notes, but it doesn't have to be so much louder because my third bow is louder. You see how controlled that is? That I'm not going to let how many notes I play dictate the way I deliver the melody. That is going to be hard for the whole piece. And then occasionally we also have, Ethan, we have short motifs, right? Just a portion of like the middle section of the fugue. And that also has to follow what I just played. So let's start from the beginning, a little bit under tempo. We'll mark all the wrong notes today. So, boom, boom, boom. Good, much better. So I want to hear, like really clearly, that fourth note, the longest, loudest, without being angry. Good, so now we're not separating them, we're playing two oboes. They have to sound a little louder to be like legato. So you could break right now in this slow tempo. Eventually when you speed up, it sounds less broken. But for now, a little more broken is fine. Good. You heard that C natural being sharp because of G string, right? Anything below third position, if it's loud, you have to place your left hand a little bit lower because the string goes higher. And no time, right away shifting. So have really a few different types of chords. We have the conventional, right? Then we have the bottom heavy, but then sometimes we have a hybrid chord, which means the bottom and the top are both important. This chord is a hybrid in a way, because the bottom finishes. You know, so thankfully the E flat, the bottom, is the end of the phrase, so it could be a little bit softer. So a lot of calculation. See, when you auditioned for this violin scholarship, it was for violinists only, right? The judges were all violinists, so they could tell. In the future, your competition is always going to be against other violinists. So let's think about these calculations. Can we start from? Is top melody, right? So it could be a little bit more legato. Good. So because that's much better. Because we're practicing under tempo, I do want you to realize your chords all have to have some vibrato. Otherwise, it sounds really dry. To be shorter, because they are eighth notes, right? We want shorter long notes, longer short notes. So the string crossing has to be very quick. I want you to spend less time with both strings. So then the bottom voice is shorter. Not faster tempo, still under tempo. Under tempo. Good. So the string crossing is still quite obvious. Better. Yeah. So I want to give you one example. You're smart. So I could play E string here. I could put E string here. Here. Do you understand? So there's not a lot of given space. So you could cross a little more to the E string, a little wider range. Yes. Yes. Go on for now. You don't get that luxury on inner strings. Only E and G you have more angle to play with. Good. So we want to hear the C nut tone. Crescendo. So this involves both voices. You know? It's both speed. Good. Good. When the two voices are singing back and forth, this against that, I want you to really help me to identify them. So much longer on the, so that's the voicing that I talked about earlier. So I specifically crossed to that single string at the end. Good, good. So remember that dynamic we talked about. Can you play that phrase one more time here? You have the bottom heavy chord. Yeah, so that chord, the first chord, is bottom heavy. And it's soft. One more time. You could be in third position, but then 2, 1, 2, 3. Good, yeah. And then end of the phrase.
Oh yeah.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of control. There's a lot of calculation. The other thing I want to say is, it's probably fair to say let's just vibrate every eighth note, at least in this tempo. Doesn't matter if it's a single note or double stops or a chord, they deserve low vibrato. Let's just relax our fingers, our arm, just add it up. Yeah, including that chord. Yeah. Can we try second position? Good. Yeah, so I'm gonna stop you every time you don't vibrate. I'm sorry. Yeah, including that one. Good. And then this is the fourth type of chord. We have the traditional, we have the bottom heavy, right? And then we sometimes have all chords playing together like a choir. But this is the fourth type is very, very soft brush. We don't drop, we don't lift. Good. And then they deserve even more vibrato because of the legato. Vibrate. Yeah, so the way I shift it's my C sharp goes first. My C sharp is up. Then I add the G. I cannot put my G down and then squeeze, and then, yes. So there's a little bit of different timing. Good. Yeah, and then this is the chord number 4. Another soft one. And even I'm being very picky, we're practicing, right? We still have time. Every single time you play these brushy chords, can you vibrate the bottom also? You know? So now I'm going to ask you, because it's 16th notes, try to vibrate the melodic notes. So the echo could be softer and lighthearted. A little more articulated, shorter. Yeah, so we use shorter bow, maybe a little bit more into the focus sounding point. Right now, I hear a little bit of that going on. Yeah. So intonation Could the D flat be even lower than A flat? Yeah, vibrate the chord. And then that chord is the end of the phrase. It needs to be softer. And this is bottom heavy chord. By the way, you were vibrating the first time, playing too loudly, and then you play softly without the vibrato. You do both. Thank you. That's exactly right. So we have to compromise. You cannot say, oh, everything is beautiful. No, only the bottom is beautiful. Top is its decoration. And then you still have that dynamic. You can start from the bottom heavy chord there. The end of the phrase. Yes. Voicing. So voicing is dynamic. Sometimes it's also longer, right? Longer on the G string, so we don't hear the D string notes so much. We're very much fine-tuning, but the interesting thing is all these things that you don't vibrate, don't emphasize enough, that are sort of expected by professionals when they listen to a student perform. But you want to be unpredictable, unexpectedly professional. So you take care of all these small things. They have to be a huge thing. Okay, let's start from the bottom heavy chord one more time. G up, you gotta vibrate. So make sure the C is blocking. Yes. You could break that chord earlier. And this chord, these chords are what I call the choral in a choir. So because all four strings are playing, you could break them and play them a lot more legato, but they don't sound legato that way because the string crossing. End the phrase, beam, beam, so still shaped. forget every eighth note. Vibrate. So, can we start from the top of the page one more time? First time much louder. Beautiful. Good. Yeah, let's use E string 2101. Let's use that finger. Yeah, good. Yeah. Is that fingering marked that way? Okay. Then. You know, so there's a little arrival on the down bow crescendo. Right, you gotta vibrate. Yeah, you have to vibrate. So from here. I wouldn't lift up the pinky, Ethan. And then I keep my first finger on. I'm already there, just adding the third finger.
So like.
So yeah, so you have to get used to my octaves already here. Just adding, and then the B flat is actually very light. My finger's so loose. Extra low 3. You'd be surprised. You don't have to reset the chord. Vibrate. Same thing here. So I like the third finger to be your sort of your pillar, and then you're adding the extra low 1, extra low 2. This type of posture is what I need you to keep the relaxation. Remember, I said sometimes ago, this is finger ballet. They have to be boneless, so loose. You have to get used to new postures. Yeah, so third finger is unaffected. Exactly. And I like the fact you already remind yourself about the end of the phrase. Yeah, just lots of stuff. So we need this chord. It's a different type of ending than the first movement. It doesn't have to be very, very long. It needs to be kind of a louder. Without the big accent at the end, a little decay right at the very end, but it should be pretty heroic. Better. Yeah, much better. So, in order to speak German musically, we have to speak the right accent. You know, he lived in Leipzig, so we need to speak Leipzig accent. Just like playing Chinese music, you gotta sound like someone from Beijing or Shanghai, not San Francisco. Okay, good. So we worked on a lot of details. Let's move on to another piece. I asked you to also start looking at the Zai. Did you have music?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you started it?
Yeah, but it's pretty hard.
It's very hard. It's what my graduate students work on. So I'm pushing really hard. But we don't have to. You don't have to play any. You listen to it,
Yeah.
right? And then use free bowing. Don't use any original bowing. We could read a little bit of that if you want. What else did you bring?
Mozart, and then Mozart.
Can I hear some Mozart real
Yeah.
quick? I do want to, you know what, let's look at the Izai. I want to explain Izai first, so we can really start effectively working on it.
It's so good. I need to whole bunch it.
So, just to explain a few things. This is the main dance, or the main, movement. This is basically the whole intro, very free, with more rhythmic. And he was a violinist, so he wrote this violinistly speaking, which means you don't have a lot of other options in terms of fingerings and bowings, fingerings at least. Articulation-wise, we have to really use what's marked purely legato when it comes to long slurs. He's from Belgium, but music is largely influenced by the French style. Belgium, France, they're next to each other. The two lines basically mean A string. So E string one line, that's his marking if it's above a number. Occasionally. Like this means you have to go down to the A string.
Oh, okay. So
This doesn't mean, right? It only means something when it's on top of a fingering.
Okay.
It is confusing. That's the way he marked fingerings. But thankfully you don't have a lot of that. Okay. So there are a lot of chords. It's really good for you to learn how to think horizontally. Okay, so let's try. Don't try to play anything emotionally or rhythmically exciting. We're just working on notes. So separate bow, any bowing, free bowing. So some of the fingerings he marked for color only. You can have some
freedom if you want to change. Oh, second finger, okay. So if he's using 2, giving you 2, it basically means he wants a glitz, right? And he loves glissando. Yeah, so we have to break it to a few different steps. So so it's like 3 different chords. Play the double, the open string, then yeah, all within one bow, exactly. It sounds busy. Yeah, so these numbers, if it's with this dotted line, it means string. Okay, yeah. So this means you have to glizz down. That's a minor issue. This means you have to shift up because that's
This?
yes. So this belongs. You see the 4 below the 3 lines.
Yeah.
The 3 means D string. Slowly. Yeah, and then when you shift, you could use the pinky. This is called the Russian glitz. Russian glitz is the next fingers sliding. You know? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this one is not. So let's do this. During the next lesson, we won't do the Bach. I'm going to ask you to make a recording for me in 2 weeks' time. But next week, let's start with Isai. You could give me either the entire thing or give me, half of it. What I
My
might do,
entire piece.
if you can.
Okay.
but completely under tempo.
Yeah.
Like the stuff you're doing with your cello rondo to match the recording that you heard is not necessary. We're gonna get there. That's the easy part. But I do want to listen to all the pitch. And when you have a lot of notes, use free bowing. When you don't have a lot of notes, just under tempo, use the right bow. In terms of workload, the Mozart, we also need to record with the cadenza, right?
Yeah.
Are you doing the sonata at all with that pianist?
Yeah, we just rehearsed last week.
Which sonata?
Mozart, Sonata in E minor.
Yeah. So, because you also have school, when does school finish?
June 6th.
Okay, so you have 2 more weeks.
Yeah. But I'm gonna have a bit more time because of cross-handed.
Okay. Did you rehearse the entire Mozart or just the first one?
The first one.
First one. Okay. And did you rehearse with Lotus?
So it's Lotus, yeah.
So she was coaching, she was helping you?
Yeah.
Okay.
They only rehearsed one time,
Okay.
and it wasn't good.
Yeah, she
Was she underprepared? You think?
yeah.
She was. He
Okay.
was too, but she
She
really didn't prepare. Their recital at the music school is on June 14th.
Okay, so you are assigned to play together
Yeah.
as a chamber group,
Yeah.
sort of coached by Lotus?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other performances I need to know about? Any other project you know of?
No.
Okay, so let me hear that Mozart sonata
Okay.
because I don't want you to rehearse underprepared. Is she underprepared or underachieved? She-
Underprepared.
Yeah,
Okay, so she could play it.
I think.
She has the
She's
ability.
really good.
Okay, good. That's a good problem at least.
Yeah, but she's also a nice reader and also very busy with lots of extracurricular. They rarely can find time to rehearse. So that's why so far they only rehearse one time. We don't even know when is the next rehearsal. And when they perform on June 14th, Lotus couldn't make it. But she's busy too.
Yes,
Because,
I see.
yeah, she thought it was on the 13th, so then she booked something on the 14th. But then it changed to the 14th because DYS, my old orchestra, is going to Carnegie Hall on the 13th.
Oh,
I asked Lotus whether it's okay to have Emily and him practice together without her. Lotus said no, it's not gonna be effective.
Since the performance is already assigned, announced, you have to do it. So my job is let's learn our part as best as we can, and then I can train you so that you're prepared. Unfortunately, I would love to hear her with you at some point, but maybe Lotus.
Maybe the next rehearsal I can record some and show you.
Yeah. And
So
then-
you know what's the problem.
Yeah, I think Lotus also probably was not very happy with that rehearsal, so she wants to quality control before anyone else hears it, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, I can understand that. Okay, so, you need to cue her, because, right, so. Okay, good. So the first time, because you're playing in unison, could be a little bit more detached. The long notes. So the
That's
shape.
why I tried to do during rehearsal, and then Lotus mischanges. Like she said, just like
Legato?
Yeah.
Longer. That's fine. whatever she says, the pianist is gonna do that. They don't have a choice, right? But originally I was hoping to save
Yeah.
this for you.
What you were describing was like what I heard during the videos like that I watched.
You need to trust her. You guys have to count very carefully underneath quarter notes. No more cue after this. So then magically you're together. But you have to end softly. And then I like this to be loud. Right? Everything is loud, including the pickup. And then can you drop a little bit? You know, and then crescendo to the end. And then the next entrance, when you play as a soloist, is a surprisingly softer entrance. Right?
Yeah.
Good. Eventually, I need your subito forte to lead. Faster bow speed, every single note, close to the frog. Can you just hear that? Yeah, so very place. No rushing. Yeah, even closer to the frog. Good. And then the dumbo is too loud, right? The long B is not that interesting. Good. Yeah. Style-wise, the long B needs to have a decay but vibrating. Pretty. And then when I say drop, don't drop the piano. Just mezzo forte. So you can maintain quite loud. Good, good. And then we don't, in Mozart, we don't do the crescendo within a note. It's basically natural decay, right? Let's start from here one more time. Yeah, from the string. I will stay in third position and then back to first position. Open A sounds a little bit fun. Stay in third position again. So, where are we? So, so we're in two. position. Yeah, we could hook this. Sorry. Oops. Dee-da-dee-da-dee. Hook this. Yeah, so some people do this as an echo. You could work with her. Right? So this will be softer. And then good. Then just like the fugue, they have to have some kind of direction, right? Good. Yeah, so this, because you're accompanying, you have to have a little bit better brush. You know, instead of should be closer to the frog, a little more brushed. No rushing. Good. Yeah, so let's try not to add a string crossing by using fingering that would not create an extra string crossing. Open string is great when you're crossing on the way, right, as a passing tune. A little more brushed. Here, and evenness is important. Good. Good. Yeah, let's go to the third position. We also want this to have some kind of connection. Then go back to first position. Use open string at the end. From here, go. I'm sorry. This is the previous phrase. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. One more time. Good. Okay. Then let's do. To go. Yeah, this is a surprising entrance. Yeah. A little bit louder. Bum, bum. It's still forte. Yeah, this is all forte. More brush. In general, I don't want you to be too short. Yeah. So because this is on the downbeat, for Mozart, it's very normal to do a, you know, almost like a pickup. The second beat is the main beat. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Bum, 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 beep, beep. Beep, beep, bum, bum, bum. One more time from here. Two. Good. Let's do 2 ups at the end. Bum, bum, ba-da-dee. Dee-ba-dee-ba-da-dee. Good going, good, yeah. So then, subito forte, bum, bing, bum, accent, okay, up, ready, go. 1, 2, 1, 2, bum, bing, bum, 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 bing, bum, 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 bing, bum, bum, bum. Good, yeah. This could be a little more detached, a little shorter. Piano is very percussive, right? And no decrescendo, still forte. You're a pianist, so you could pretty much process this by looking at the score, so that you could somehow match the articulation for the pianist player. I have to stop. I think the best thing to do is, this is not very hard for you, but it's hard as a group, for both of you as a group. It's important that we play this with a classy approach to chamber music. One of the most famous sonatas he ever wrote. So next lesson, let's start with this. You listen to some recordings, watch some videos, read the score, and then come up with some better fingerings and bowing, especially bowing for articulation, right? To match the style of Mozart. You already know Mozart. You play great Haydn. Mozart is during his time, younger than Haydn. And then it's all about characters, right? So every character has to really stand out. If it's a piano solo moment, you need to know how to really accommodate her. If it's your moment, how do you stand out? When you're playing something together, how do you match piano articulation? These are things not hard for you. It's going to be hard for her because she doesn't. Does she play violin? So then you play both, so you take the leadership.
Okay.
It's okay. And then next lesson. When was the rehearsal? Yesterday or?
No, it was Friday. It was a Friday.
2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Two.
So a long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm sort of hoping that next rehearsal is not before next lesson. We could really polish this even more, and then it's all up to her preparation. It's a shame if she's not prepared. If next rehearsal, if we spend time and she's not prepared, then it's not a good match. I'm not sure that it's a fair assignment for you. I never enter this type of commitment unless both are fully committed. But it's nice to learn this. And at least she can play with you. Lotus can play with you in the future. Record it. Yeah.
You're right.
Just for fun. Yeah. So we should learn that. And the second movement is absolutely gorgeous. So we could learn something.